Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, continuing with the electric baritone ukulele project. Okay, so in this is video 3, and in the second video I had completed the finishing on the neck, the staining and the coating with the boiled linseed oil. And since then I've also fitted the ferrules in. They were pretty tight, and I was a little concerned about splitting the wood by putting them in, but I used a rubber mallet and just gently tapped them in until they were all the way home. And they're a really tight fit, so they're never going to fall out. You want them to be tight, but you also want them to be removable if necessary. So in that video I did say that the next video in this project would be to do the finishing on the body, but I've had 1,001 other jobs to do, so I haven't got round to doing that yet, and I'm going to put it on hold just for the time being. So the next stage really is continuing with the neck. One thing I did find when I was checking through all of the hardware and everything that came with this instrument, where the neck bolts onto the body, there should be a metal plate that goes here before the screws go in. Otherwise your screws are just going straight into the wood, which is not ideal, doesn't look good, and it's not going to be stable, and with the tension there's the possibility of the screws just basically ripping through the wood. So the metal plate that goes on here wasn't included for some reason, so I made one. So I found a piece of steel which I believe is about 3mm thick, I'm guessing. Luckily it already had the bevels on the edges here, but I've had to cut it down to size, and obviously, you know, put it against the back of the body there to make sure it's the right size and shape. Drilled the holes and countersunk the holes as well. I had to buy some new drill bits because my metal drill bits that I had, cheap, nasty, rubbish, completely useless, wouldn't get through this 3mm thick piece of steel. So I bought some new ones and they went through it like butter. So I've drilled the holes and countersunk them as well, and I found a piece of foam which I stuck on the back, which serves to protect the body against any damage, and that in itself is probably, no, you're not going to see that, it's probably 1.5 to 2 mil thick, I guess. But it's foam, and it's nice and spongy, so that'll press down nicely. Now you'll probably notice, if you look closely here, the holes are a little bit offset. I haven't made a mistake. The manufacturer did. So if you look on there, you can see this hole is slightly higher than this one, and I'm not sure these are perfectly lined up either. But if I put that plate on there and line it up with the holes, you can see that that's not exactly perfectly straight there, but you can see that that's going to finish it off rather nicely. It needs one of these on here. It's surprising how much tension is on those 4 screws when the thing is strung up and tuned up to tension. It's quite a bit of stress on that joint. So it's got to be strong, and you've got to have one of these metal plates to stop the screws from pulling through, basically. So I didn't film making this, wasn't all that exciting. I used a hacksaw and a drill and a knife to cut this foam down, and some glue to stick it on. So it wasn't all that exciting. So what I'm going to do today is fit the tuners. I've already got the ferrules fitted in, so let me just start by getting the camera set up so that you can see what I'm doing. Should be about right. Just put a bit of weight on that tripod, stop it from tipping over. That should be good. Okay. So the tools I'm going to need for this job are a straight edge ruler, a Litten screwdriver, a drill, and some wax. Okay, so first thing to do is put the tuners into the holes, for want of a better word. 1, 2, where's the other one? 3, 4. Okay, so tuners are placed in the holes, and let me just hold those. And you can see when they're lined up, they come together to form a hole for the screw. So to make sure they're all in perfect alignment, these are very easy to line up. So you put them all in, you put your straight edge ruler against the side and just push the ruler up to them so that they all line up. This is quite awkward to do this and show you at the same time. So if I push the ruler up against the side, you can see they've all nicely lined up. So it's a straight edge along that edge of the tuners, so this is a really easy way to get everything to line up. So now I need a pencil, and using the ruler to hold them all perfectly straight and lined up, I'm now going to mark the screw holes. Just make sure they're all lined up nicely. That one seems to be going off a bit. There we go. Okay, so with the pencil I just mark down through the holes. Last one. Okay, so now I can take the tuners out, and are you going to be able to see that? Okay, so there's a pencil mark there, 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 and there. Okay. So that's the holes marked. Now I want to put something under here to support it while I drill those holes. Should have thought about this before, but I didn't. Wow. So I've got just a little piece of plastic there. Can't remember what that's from. That fits under there absolutely perfectly. Yeah, better that way. Okay, so that will support it while I'm drilling the holes. Now I've already found the right size drill bit. So you may remember I've said this before. To find the right size drill bit, you place the screw behind the drill bit, and you should be able, you won't be able to see that, but you should just be able to see the threads of the screw either side of the drill bit, and only just. If you can see, you know, a lot of the threads and possibly even the shank of the screw, the drill bit's too small. If you can't see anything at all, the drill bit's too big. And so I found the right size drill bit, and I put some masking tape around it as a depth stop, measured up against the length of the screw, so that I don't screw too deep. And I'm just going to check that's not going to go all the way through. It's pretty close. Yeah, it should be good. Okay, so now I'll very carefully drill the holes. One. Two. So up. So when I marked these with the pencil, should just let you know that I did push down with the pencil. Got quite a sharp point on the pencil, and I pushed down so that it would make a small indentation as well, so that the drill bit won't wander. So even a fraction of a millimetre out is going to be a disaster. Three. 4. 5. Okay. So that's the holes drilled. They look to be lined up rather nicely. So it's easier if I put the headstock over the end of the bench to put the tuners in. Obviously, because of how far they stick out on the bench, it restricts them coming right the way through. Okay, so let's line up all of the tuners, and using my ruler again just to line them all up, just going to check that the holes are all in line. I hope they are. They look perfect. Good. Okay. Just double check. Yeah, they're looking good. Okay. So I've got the screws ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a little trick when you put new screws into new holes in new wood, even if you've drilled the holes the exact right size, they might be a little bit tight going in, and these tiny little screws, you can easily damage the heads on them. So you want them to go in fairly easily. So a little tip is to get some wax. You can use Vaseline or candle wax or paraffin wax, anything you like. This is my mixture of beeswax and boiled linseed oil, which I use for polishing. Actually, I don't use it all that much at the moment. So you just dip the end of the screw in there so that you've got a little coating of wax on the end, and that will really, really help the screws to go in easily. Okay, so here goes the first one. I'll start at the end. Okay, so that's going in nice and easy. So I'm going to put all of the screws in before I tighten any of them. I'll just drop one in there. Just to make sure everything's lining up right. Okay, second one. It's quite fiddly to get those in there. Not much space. Bear with me. Okay, I'm going to use a little pair of needle nose pliers to get those in place, because my fingers are a bit too chubby. How are we doing for time? Okay, we're doing good. Okay, so I've got a nice small pair of needle nose pliers. That will help me to get the screw in place. That's better, much easier. Okay. Goes number 2. Again, that's screwing in nice and easy. Okay, I'll just drop the screw on the floor and found it immediately. That's the benefit of keeping your workshop tidy. You keep telling yourself that. Okay, number 3. Okay, and that one goes. Number 4. And I've dropped it in there again. The pressures of working on camera, you see. If I wasn't filming this, I've had it finished by now. Oops. Again. Okay. In it goes. Nice and smooth. Okay, and the last one. That goes. So all the screws are started, haven't tightened them up yet, but you can see already nicely lined up. Okay, so I'm going to start with the middle screw and tighten it down, not all the way, just till it's snug, and then the two outside of that. And the two at the ends. It's maybe not too necessary to do it this way. I just like to make sure everything's staying in perfect alignment. It seems to be going well. Who'd have thought it? Okay, so now I will tighten them all, being careful not to over tighten and strip the heads of the screws off. That's the last thing you want. And there we go. They are all in. Nicely lined up. Looking great now. Okay, so that's the tuners in. I just want to make sure they all turn nicely. That is good. It's a little tight. That's fine. That's fine. So, as I've said before, these tuners come with a little hole in the back of them for lubrication. So I am, even though they're new tuners, I want to put a little drop of oil in there, just to make sure they're nicely lubricated. Now, the way I'm going to do this is just use this stuff, because it works. But this is an aerosol one, and I'm probably have the little straw thing that comes with it, but A, I can't find it, and B, I don't really like to use it for things like this because I can't see what's happening inside. So what I am going to do is I'm going to spray a little bit into the cap. Okay, so I've got some sloshing around in there, and I'm going to use one of these pipettes. Draw some up into that, and then let's just move that out of the way. Just put about 2 drops in each one. That's all it needs. That's already got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And even using that, I had a little bit of spillage, so let's wipe that up quickly. And the good thing about this stuff is it's not only good for lubrication, it helps to polish them up as well. Okay, so just make sure I've got all of the excess off of there. I don't want oil running all over the place. And give the buttons a bit of a wipe as well. And there it is, finished. So I'm a bit disappointed about this odd coloured one, but there you go. Okay, so that's the tuners in, rather nice. I'm just going to double check these screws are nice and tight, not too tight. And there you go. So that's another little job done. It's looking rather nice with those on. It's quite surprising how heavy they are as well. I can really feel the difference in the weight. But the body, obviously because it's solid wood and with all the electrics in it, that's going to counter that no problem. So while I'm about it, and I've still got a few minutes left, I'm just going to test fit the neck into the body. So I'm just going to find the screws and just test fit it with that metal plate that I made, just to make sure it's all good. Okay, so I need a bigger screwdriver. That's the one. Okay. Right, a metal plate, line that up. That's the first one started. Let's get another one in on the opposite corner. There we go. Okay, get the other two in as soon as I find them as well. It does feel as though there's enough threads catching the neck itself, so it should be stable. I mean, this is the first time I've put these screws in all the way, so it feels as though they're cutting a bit more thread, which is exactly what you want really, because you know it's going to be nice and secure. I'm not going to over tighten them just now, just want to make sure it all looks good, and it does. So there it is with the neck in, with the tuners on. Starting to look a little bit like an instrument now, and with the plate there at the back, I think that looks rather good. You can see it's homemade, but that's fine. And the foam pad that I've got on the back seems to be exactly the right thickness. You want it to be kind of padded, but also tightened down nicely. And yeah. That looks rather good. Quite happy with that. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going with this right now. And hopefully, as I said before, hopefully the next video will be about doing the body, finishing the body, all being well. But that's a few days off at the moment. So I'm quite happy with where I've got to at the moment. Yeah, I can feel that that's quite well balanced. Yeah, all good. So yeah, as I said, hopefully the next video will be finishing the body, but we will see. Just about to run out of time, so peace out.